Is there more Solyndra trouble for the administration? Energy Secretary Stephen Chu was called 6 months ago to testify before congressional investigators, and they apparently are tired of waiting. Congressman Darrell Issa is chairman of the House Oversight Committee. He's with me now. And, sir, good morning and welcome back here to America's
Good morning, Bill,
Newsroom.
and thanks for covering this expanding scandal of how those monies were spent.
We're trying to work through this and figure out if something was done illegally or not. Now, are you prepared to subpoena the Energy Secretary?
Yes, we are. In the case of the 6 months we've been negotiating with the Secretary and other cabinet positions on the misspending and a wide group of misspending, we've continued to find example after example, the majority of them coming either through the labor portion or through Department of Energy. And we reached a point where it's time for government oversight to look not at the very important but narrow single issue of Solyndra, but what we see as a pattern of cronyism, a pattern of essentially breaking the rules in order to give money to groups they wanted to support, primarily in green energy.
Is it your hunch then? Is it your thinking that he's hiding something?
Well, the amazing thing is that his people keep telling us he's not qualified to answer our questions. But of course, in some cases, his signature appears directly on the applications. So we pushed back on that and said, look, we're happy to talk to others, but ultimately the buck is supposed to stop with the Secretary. And if it were one example, we'd say, let's talk to the project manager. But when it's dozens of examples and a growing number of misinvestments, if you will, under the law, we need to speak to the Secretary himself. We've made it clear that this is one that we can't allow to be said no to, and we're expecting compliance within the next few weeks.
The Energy Secretary, apparently, or the department rather, has said that they'll give you the Deputy Secretary, and I know that's not good enough for you. And others suggest that, hey, they've been cooperating the entire time and you're just on a fishing expedition. To them, you say what, sir?
Well, we've got groups like Beacon who have gone through bankruptcy, who were junk bond quality when they were given the money. We've got Blue Mountain back in Harry Reid's home district that clearly created no jobs. The Secretary's signature is on that one, and it's very clear that at the time that the loan was given, on the face of the application, you could see that it was loan repayment to a parent company and not new money to create new jobs. So we could go through these individual examples. I know you don't have time. We have an obligation to get to the bottom of it, and the Secretary has an obligation to answer.
Let me go through one here, because many believe, and I'm not sure if you're one of them, but I think it's your hunch, that this was all political payoff. Now, do you have the smoking gun that proves that?
Well, we have a pattern of violating the law, or at least the intent, but in many cases the letter, in order to make these loans. Our job is not to presume the intent behind those violations. Ours to ask them, what were you thinking and why did you do that? And how can we make sure that if we pass laws, you obey them? But I do share the fact that it's beginning to look like if you play with the president and his party and his reelection, you do better in these loans. And I think anyone has a right to consider that as one of the questions to be answered.
Okay, we will see very soon whether or not or what sort of answer you get from Secretary Chu. Darrell Issa, thank you for coming back
Bill.
here. All right,
Sure.
34 minutes.